Tonight on CTV News, the fire service is on edge as the warmer weather arrives, prisoners for premature babies, and we mark the 35th anniversary of Erebus.
Broadcasting across Canterbury, from the CTV studio, this is First at 5.
Good evening to you. The fire service is worried it will see a repeat of major fires raging across the landscape seen 2 years ago. It's fire season again, and naturally the warnings are back too. Here's Marcus Gibbs.
They ripped across the Selwyn district, wreaking havoc. Closer to home, they tore up the Port Hills, leaving a black stain on the land in their wake. Grass and bushfires have caused thousands of dollars in damage to land and property during the summer of 2012 and 2013. In one major fire, 4 houses were badly damaged and 18,000 hens were killed at an egg farm. It was the worst fire season that Mark Thomas has experienced since the 1990s. Last year's mild weather meant firefighters received a break, but already the rivers are starting to dry up and firefighters are feeling nervous.
Conditions are looking like they may be the same as a couple of years ago, and it does give us far more things to plan for than when we get a summer that isn't as pleasant.
Firefighters are reminding Cantabrians what not to do this summer.
Just trying to make sure that people are aware that lighting fires in a nor'wester outside is a pretty dumb thing to do, to be quite honest, and a number of those fires that you were talking about were the result of people trying to burn stuff off in conditions that they shouldn't have done so.
Staff levels will remain the same, but firefighters will be on high alert over the next few months.
So we just ask people to be really well aware of the fact that if you've got a high wind, you've got dry conditions, it's very, very likely you're going to get very fast fire growth and fire movement. And once it starts moving across the vegetation that is dry, it's just impossible for people to put it out on their own.
When the weather's hot and the grass is dry, fire can quickly spread across hundreds of hectares. In the Selwyn district, the fire that killed thousands of chickens was caused when a rubbish fire got out of control. However, despite causing $200,000 of damage, the owners of that property were not charged with arson. Despite extensive campaigns, people are still making mistakes.
Just asking people to use their brain and to think before they light anything, because as soon as you light anything on fire, you've got the potential of that fire growing.
Canterbury's fire officers will be hoping the message finally sinks in before more people or animals are put at risk by a raging, out-of-control scrub fire. Marcus Gibbs, CTV News.
They may be locked up for terrible acts of crime, and it's fair to say they've got a lot of time on their hands, so some female prisoners in Christchurch have taken up knitting to help newborn babies.
An early Christmas gift for some of Canterbury's newest people.
And then there's lots of various sets of booties and hats and singlets.
Inmates at the women's prison have spent the past year knitting batches of knitwear for the newborns in Christchurch's Women's Hospital.
It's really special to have such a great gift of woolens for our babies.
Up to 6,000 premature babies are delivered in the Canterbury area a year. These woolen outfits, more than a gift for the newborns.
Well, temperature regulation is vital, and the smaller they are, the more important it is, but especially at the time of birth. But even big babies need a hat on to keep them warm right from the start.
Inmates at Christchurch's Women's Prison using their spare time to knit the garments over the past 12 months. Those more experienced have been passing on their knowledge.
Some of the more experienced women have been teaching the younger women how to knit.
Like one of the ladies said the other day, she learned, her grandmother taught her under the plum tree, and she was knitting with sticks, and I thought that was kind of cute because she started knitting at such an early age and she's continuing that on, and it's a skill that she can teach other people.
Behind bars, it's the prisoners' way of giving back to society.
It's keeping the women busy, and they enjoy it because it's their opportunity to give something back to the community.
That was the comment they made when we were talking about it the other day. They said the main thing they find, because of the situations that they're personally in, that it's a chance to do something good and to give back. So I think that's been the biggest learning curve for them.
It was an idea of Jan Hadfield from the Sisters of Nazareth, who's been blown away by what's been produced.
What absolutely amazed me is they were given a patent to knit singlets, and they've come back with layers. I couldn't believe it when I saw all the knitting. I just thought it was really good.
This won't be the last delivery, with the next batch of knitwear already on its way to the ward. Emma Cropper, CTV News.
It's easy enough to go slightly over the speed limit in your car, but you might want to keep an eye on your speedometer. Police are getting tough this holiday season.
Zero tolerance for speed across the country. Police are cracking down on fast drivers this Christmas. The move follows a successful campaign last summer, where deaths on the road dropped by 22%. Police dished out more than 200,000 tickets to drivers travelling up to 10 kilometres above the speed limit. In the latest police report looking at the Safer Summer campaign, there was more than $6 million worth of fines, up by $1 million compared to previous years. But the strict speed rules are working, with stats revealing there were fewer crashes on New Zealand roads. This year's operation will see more than 8,000 police officers on the roads, targeting drivers exceeding the speed limit and enforcing lower alcohol limits. Police Commissioner Mike Bush says the police expects families will travel large distances on unfamiliar roads to reach summer hotspots. Police are making it clear that survival of loved ones depends on all New Zealanders doing their bit. Social media campaigns are being used to raise awareness, hoping locals will post photos of them writing safety messages in the sand with the hashtag #ReachTheBeach. But what do locals think of the zero tolerance speed limit this Christmas?
Only 1 kilometre.
Yeah, zero tolerance this year.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
You do? Why's that?
Because speed creates more crashes than anything else. Apart from booze, of course.
No.
Why's that?
They must be after a bit of revenue and just trying to make some more money, and I don't know.
Do you think they should stick with the 4K tolerance?
Yes, yeah. Just to make things flow a bit easier, as long as there's no car crashes and accidents, yeah, should be all good.
I know my car's speedo, it's very fine line. You can be 2k over without knowing it, or under. Just seems extraordinary fine line.
I guess it's pretty good, lower the amount of accidents and tolerances. I guess it's just good to have that boundary set, I think.
Well, I think it's ridiculous because you can't judge 1 kilometre, and you might as well be, 5 kilometres. They should have more to be doing than to be worried about 1 kilometre. It's probably just a revenue collecting exercise.
I think 1 kilometre is a wee bit tough. I mean, I understand there should be a speed limit, but I think 1k over, I think they're going to be slightly lenient.
It's probably a good idea. Being a nurse, I see lots of things happening after those sorts of events, so yeah, it's probably a good idea, but it'll catch quite a few people out.
Well, still to come here on CTV News, a local gamer hopes to break into the multi-million-dollar industry.
In Good Shape, examining all aspects of healthcare, medicine, research, nutrition, fitness and beauty, with in-depth interviews from medical experts. It's all here on In Good Shape, Tuesday morning at 9:30 CTV.
Avoid the monkeys when it comes to relocating. Trust A1 Movers, a family business since 1993 that guarantees a professional job every time. We carefully handle and wrap your valued items, ensuring they have a safe journey. Secure storage and insurance options are also available.
A1 Movers, the careful, caring moving company.
Oi! Welcome to Caltex Redwood. We're a family-owned business proudly supporting our local community. We're open 24/7 for fuel and shop goods, and we have an amazing team of people ready to help you. Save at least 6 cents per litre using AA Smart Fuel cards. We also offer great value on our LPG bottle fills. We have a full workshop and Bridgestone Tyre Centre. Our mechanics and tyre technicians will get your car sorted. Caltex Redwood. We're just down from St Bede's on Main North Road. Caltex Redwood. What drives you?
My son's helped me greatly with my independence now that I've got more mobility.
Mum, I've been looking into stand assist chairs from More Mobility. They recline back with a footrest, then when you want to get out of them, they stand you up. You can even sleep on them. More Mobility can bring one out for a free trial. There's even electric beds too. What do you think? For more range and more expert advice, see More Mobility, corner Clarence and Princess Streets off Blenheim Road.
What a difference more mobility makes.
Blackwells has a proud history presenting leading vehicle brands, extensive backup and service for a total one-stop driving experience. Holden, Mazda and HSV new and used vehicle sales, servicing, parts, paint and panel, Isuzu truck sales and service, all together in one convenient location. More selection, more value, more quality and more reasons to make Blackwells your number one choice. Visit Blackwells today, corner Waterloo Racecourse Road, Sockburn, or online at blackwells.co.nz.
Canterbury Live coming to you daily at 4:30. It's all about what's happening in your region, Canterbury, what's hot, what's not, and much more. Canterbury Live.
Welcome back to CTV News. Well, ever considered building your own local video game? Well, a Christchurch resident is doing just that in record time, Lisa Jordan explains.
The whole thing's all about
zombies, blood, and a man with guns for limbs. It sounds unconventional, just another violent video game. But this crazy creation has come straight from the mind of one of Christchurch's up-and-coming designers.
We started on a project first, which we spent 15 hours on. It was so bad. It wasn't fun to play. I messed up really bad on programming and putting the concept together. And then after we scrapped that, I got some sleep and started on this one again, started from scratch, and just never left my computer for the whole weekend.
25-year-old Sam Prebble has been designing video games since he was 8 years old. The self-taught designer has been involved in various game coding projects. This competition was the first time he's entered one alone.
I was just self-taught. I mean, you can teach yourself these days on YouTube, and there's plenty of tutorials out there on how to do it. But yeah, it's just a lot of trial and error at first, because I didn't go to college for this or anything. I just taught myself.
A game jam is an event in which participants gather, online or physically, to make games in a short period of time. The competition, called Indies vs PewDiePie Game Jam, took place over 72 hours.
It's probably a good thing, because if you have all the time you want in the world, then you're just going to keep pondering on trying to make it the best thing you can. And when you have that time limit, which you usually do in the industry, you don't have time to second guess your work. You just go with whatever you're doing and just keep at it.
The competition is in its inaugural year and was created by popular YouTube video game commentator PewDiePie. This attracted scores of competitors worldwide, each vying for recognition as one of the world's best game designers.
You get to talk to more people who are like-minded, more of the community, because I mean around Christchurch it's really hard to find, unless you go out and look for these people, it's really hard to find a community of people doing the same stuff as you.
Sam Prebble's game is sure to stand out amongst the rest. His fun-to-play, fun-to-watch game features an unfortunate hero called Stumpy, who has guns for limbs and has to consume zombie parts to stay alive.
Just anybody wants to just a good laugh for 10 minutes. That's really what it was made for, just have fun watching it, playing it.
A graphic designer by day, Sam has dreams of being picked up for his talents by a major company and becoming a professional game designer. He hopes this game will be enjoyed by many and get his name out there.
Not just the competition, but the whole industry as a whole, the whole indie gaming scene. Anybody who makes a game, and if people like it, then you're instantly in there. Yeah, getting there is a hard part really, just getting noticed.
Most people would struggle to create a computer game, but in 72 hours, Sam coded and designed this game from scratch, which in itself is a successful feat.
Much easier now. Back in the day, you had to deal with nothing but code, but now there's just software everywhere that does it. There's so many different packages you can use. Anybody can make a game these days.
Voting for the competition entries closes this weekend, with the top 10 winners' games being played on YouTube. Lisa Jordan, CTV News.
Very talented indeed. Well, today marks the 35th anniversary of when an Air New Zealand DC-10 plane crashed into the side of Mount Erebus in whiteout conditions.
Today marks the 35th anniversary of New Zealand's worst peacetime tragedy, the Mount Erebus disaster. 257 passengers and crew died when Air New Zealand Flight 901 crashed into Antarctica's Ross Island in whiteout conditions while on a sightseeing trip of the ice continent. Air New Zealand blamed the pilot error of Captain Jim Collins. The disaster sparked a Royal Commission of Inquiry, which revealed a tangled web unlike anything ever seen before in New Zealand. Inquiry head Justice Peter Mann summed up that Air New Zealand had been involved in an orchestrated litany of lies to cover up the truth. However, the Privy Council in 1983 found Justice Mann had acted in breach of natural justice with his conclusion. In 2009, Air New Zealand made a public apology to the families of the deceased, acknowledging the airline had undoubtedly let them down.
Electric-powered cars is not exactly something you think about when you hear the word Ruapuna, but that's exactly what's happening at the racetrack this weekend. Marcus Gibbs explains.
It's fast, smooth and luxurious. The brand new Tesla S has only just arrived in the country, and already it's the poster child for the way of the future. There's no revving engine and no smell of burning fuel. This electric car means every journey is silent, and it's great for the environment.
It's knowing that I'm free of imported oil. It's knowing that I'm using New Zealand-made fuel. Electricity is made here and it's 75% renewable, and that's great.
The Tesla S is in Christchurch this weekend for an eVelocity event, when petrol and electricity go head-to-head.
eVelocity is New Zealand's first electric motorsport event.
Fast-paced and exciting, eVelocity is a motorsport event with an environmental twist. Every single car runs on electricity.
Electric bicycles, electric go-karts, electric motorbikes and electric cars.
16 teams of future engineers have been tinkering in sheds and dabbling with electricity to build these cars, inspiring a new generation of engineers. This Sunday they'll go head-to-head. Some of the teenagers hold dreams of building their own electric cars like this one. Jonathan wants to go one step further and work for NASA, designing and building space rovers.
It's just really interesting. I don't know. I like how all the mechanics work together. You've got all the things you've got to consider, like the train you're going to be travelling on, battery versus fuel and sustainability, that sort of thing.
These Avonside students have spent months crafting their bike. On Sunday, they'll race it.
It's been a huge, big challenge. So we've had lots of hills to climb. Tears, blood, sweat, everything. It's just it's taken a long time.
Out of the 16 student-made vehicles, this electric bike is the only entry from a girls' school.
So it's one of the coolest things I reckon about us being in the competition is that we get to represent not just our school but every single woman in Christchurch. So it's really good. It's a huge responsibility, but we're up for it.
Ava holds the world record for the fastest woman on a motorcycle.
The first time you go into uncharted territory, you go faster than you've ever done. That is scary.
She's reached speeds of 434 kilometres an hour at the Salt Flats of Utah.
So I think I can almost give the Bugatti Veyron a run for the money.
She painstakingly hand-built her car over a period of 5 years and is a huge supporter of the girls' team.
So I think it's great that girls finally getting around to doing what boys always have done, and that's getting their hands dirty and getting into technology and realizing how much fun it is.
Steve's car isn't quite as fast, but it's a lot more luxurious. At Set 7, he says it's the way of the future.
My car shows what's possible now, that EVs have really come of age, and that you can go out and buy a car now that you can drive the length of the country in no problem.
It's battery power that is stopping these cars from becoming more mainstream. Steve had to charge his car twice to get here. Each charge took 4 hours, but he says that's no issue.
It's just as practical as any petrol car and so much more fun to drive.
The organiser of this event is predicting that battery-powered cars will really start taking off by the end of the decade. That's when we can expect to start seeing vehicles like this without the $100,000 price tag. Marcus Gibbs, CTV News.
Well, still to come here on CTV News, the weekend sports preview and the region's weather.
Arts 21 showcases the vast creative talent and minds that are making a name for themselves in Europe and beyond. Think outside the square with Arts 21.
Action Removals, offering short or long-term storage facilities, full packing services, comprehensive rates, all fully insured and with 6 vehicle sizes to choose from. Earthquake repairs? Action Removals pack, move, store and return your valuable possessions stress-free. Action Removals, a family business that has been operating in Christchurch for over 10 years. Action Removals, your one-stop removal service on time, every time. 0800 222 526.
Hi, I'm Mark and welcome to Staywell Pharmacy.
At Staywell Pharmacy, we do more than just dispense prescriptions. As Canterbury's most experienced supplier of compression hosiery and travel socks, our friendly staff can assist you with all your needs when it comes to looking after your health. Whether you're recovering from surgery, taking that overseas trip, or wanting to stop those tired, aching legs, Staywell Pharmacy has you covered. Bookings are essential. For a new direction in your future health, call us today. Staywell Pharmacy. Live well, stay well.
Are you having trouble with your old mower or just have too much grass? At Mead Mowers and Chainsaws, with our wide range of Husqvarna mowers, no job is too big or too small. We stock rotary, ride-on, zero turn, out front articulated riders, and robotic order mowers. We have the Husqvarna mower for you. Call in and visit Gavin or Peter at Mead Mowers and Chainsaws.
Located at the foot of the Port Hills, Berrymead Golf offers a spectacular location for any occasion. Make your dream wedding a reality with private use of our green function room, outdoor garden courtyard, large marquee and stunning gazebo. Or for your next conference, enjoy the relaxed atmosphere of Berrymead Golf, offering a private, spacious conference room with special deals to make any break a true break. All with customised catering from the Wow Cafe. Berrymead Golf, 50 Berrymead Park Drive, right next to the Berrymead Heritage Park.
Let's face it, everyone has an agenda. And guess what? So do I. Every week, I'll pick 3 stories that grab my attention. Agenda with me, Brent Goff.
And welcome back to CTV News. Now here's Gordon Finlater with the weekend sports preview.
The Canterbury Kings have fallen to 4th in the domestic 2020 competition in what turned out to be cricket's darkest day. Taking on the Auckland Aces at Hagley Oval yesterday, the Kings batted first. Ronnie Hera was the only Canterbury batsman to make a score of note with 53 as the Kings failed to complete their 20 overs, reaching a score of 118 all out, with the final wicket of Cole McConkey falling in the first ball of the final over. Donovan Grobler was the chief destroyer for Auckland with 4 wickets while conceding just 10 runs. With the devastating news of Australian batsman Phil Hughes' death coming in, a minute's silence was held at Hagley Oval between innings. Auckland skipper and former Canterbury player Rob Nichol acted as the anchor for the Aces innings as the opener hit an unbeaten 51. With just 3 other Auckland batsmen making double figures, the visitors were never comfortable in their chase, eventually reaching their target with 2 balls to spare. The Kings now have 2 round-robin games remaining in the competition, starting with a rematch in Auckland, with a win there putting the Kings back in control of their finals hopes. The World Champion of Champions Singles Bowls tournament continues over the weekend at the Fendleton Bowling Club. Tomorrow we'll see the women's semi-final and final, while on Sunday the men's semis and final are on, with New Zealand's Ali Forsyth already qualified for Sunday's playoffs. 19-year-old footballer Laura Merrin has been snapped up by a major team in English football. The Cantab, who captains New Zealand at an Under-17 World Cup, while also playing in the Under-20 World Cup, will join the Everton ladies side for their upcoming season. The Merseysiders will compete in the 2nd division of the Women's Super League next year as they look to regain promotion after being relegated last season. And finally tonight, 2 local brothers will be looking for success this evening in Auckland's premier inter-club tennis competition. James Meredith, who is unbeaten in this year's Carrow Bowl competition, will take on New Zealand #1 Michael Venus, who has a doubles world ranking of 62 and recently helped New Zealand to victory in the Davis Cup tie against Chinese Taipei. James's older brother Matt will also turn out for their club Cockle Bay when they meet Parnell in tonight's semi-final. The brothers won't have long to relax after tonight's game, flying back early tomorrow so they can turn out for their Christchurch club Cashmere, who currently lead this season's local interclub competition. You're up to date with the latest in local sport. I'm Gordon Finlater for CTV Sport.
Thank you, Gordon. Well, you have to admit the weather around the region's just been bizarre. What's sunny this morning, hails, now a bit of thunder I can hear outside. So is it going to get any better? Well, here's an outlook of the weather.
Stormy weather for most of the region, but one place did escape the rain. Timaru, Temuka and Geraldine 15. Methven, Ashburton and Rakai had 15 degrees. Darfield hit a high of 16, with Leeston and Rolleston reaching just 15 today. Lincoln hit a high of 15, while Christchurch was slightly warmer on 16 degrees. Over in Akarawa, hope you managed to keep out of the rain with a high of 15. Rangiora, Kaipoi and Amberley were warmer, sitting on 17 today. Slightly warmer in the Huranui district, Colvin, Hanley Springs and Cheviot hitting 18 degrees. But at the top in Kaikoura, they hit the region's high of 21 degrees. And what about tomorrow in Timaru? Mostly fine with sunny periods and high cloud, but westerly winds will become gusty during the evening, hitting an overnight low of 5 and a high of 19 degrees. Ashburton cold at first but milder later, with westerlies freshening and high cloud increasing, hitting an overnight low of 4 and a high of 19. In Christchurch, a fine Saturday ahead, but windy during the afternoon and evening, with gusty westerlies developing, hitting 5 degrees overnight and a high of 19. In Kaikoura, fine and sunny with high cloud increasing. Expect mild or westerly winds developing during the day, with an overnight low of 5 and a high of 21 degrees. In other areas around the region, Temuka and Geraldine fine with a high of 18. Methven and Rakai expect afternoon cloud and a high of 19. Darfield, Leeston and Rolleston, a cloud developing in the afternoon with a low of 5 and high of 19 degrees. Looking now at Lincoln, expect a high of 19 but low of 5. Rangiora, Kaipoi and Amberley fine in the morning, but with cloud developing and a high of 19 degrees. Colvin, Hanley Springs and Cheviot reaching a high of 18 and a low of 5. And looking ahead at what's coming Canterbury's way. Cloudy on Sunday, a few showers possible early, then dry for a period of time, but heavier and more persistent showers developing during the afternoon, expected to be cold with moderate southwesterly winds. Cloudy and cold on Monday with light showers at times, also expect fresh southwesterlies. Cloud clearing and sunny periods increasing during the day on Tuesday, with moderate cold southwesterly winds dying out. Fine on Wednesday, with high cloud developing and moderate northeasterly winds. Mild on Thursday, with moderate west to northwesterly winds and sunny periods and high cloud. And that's all for the weather this week.
And that is CTV News for this Friday. Stay safe on those bouncy roads and have a fabulous weekend.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.